And we're live. Hello, guys. Welcome to the first Evilathon sprint in the month of November. And I'm joined by two beautiful ladies. I have Sharon and I have Hannah. So if you girls would like to introduce yourselves and tell your socials and also what you will be doing or reading today. So let's start with you, Sharon.
Okay, I'm Sharon. Sharon Joy Reads. I'm all over social media. I'm a book reviewer. I mainly do indie horror. I started an indie horror chapter convention this year in the UK, which is moving around. I also run the Bookstagram Awards on Bookstagram, and basically I'm everywhere. I'm like castor oil, like everywhere. And yes, I love it. I live in Devon. I work as an accountant and for a couple of days a week, 3 days a week. And yeah, I'm disabled. Apart from that, I'm looking forward to meeting Kasha in a couple of, well,
Yes. Very soon.
because I'm going to Yalk for
Very
the
soon.
first time.
Yes.
I managed to hire a scooter, a mobility scooter yesterday. It's going to be delivered to my hotel. So
Fantastic.
God help the people in Kensington. That's all we need to know, isn't it? I'm going to be knocking them out of the way, crackers. I'm looking forward to it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to be reading. This is one of the books from Evilathon. I sorted out my books the other day, and I'm reading Richard Osman. We Solve Murders.
Oh.
I really love I love horror and extreme horror, as me and Kasha
Mhm,
sisters in horror as we are. But this is kind of like a palate cleanse because
mhm,
I've been reading a lot of very, very extreme horror, and it's really good. It's a Thursday evening murder club is by Richard Osman. It's
mhm.
very funny, and this is his new one. It's like a cross between James Bond and Midsummer Murders. It's
Oh,
kind of that
Incredible.
kind of vibe, and it's really, really fun. It's just very easy reading. So I'm reading that tonight.
I've seen
Fantastic.
those books so much, but I've never picked them up. But they sound like cozy
They're
mystery,
just
like
such fun.
They're
yeah,
very cozy. Yeah.
They're
yeah.
just is a lot of humour in it. That what they're talking about is quite horrific. The crimes in it are horrific. They're horrific in here, but there's this wonderful vein of very, very British humour that is just so funny. In this one, the daughter-in-law is basically a hired protector for an agency. She's a real badass. She really is. She'll kill anybody. And then her father-in-law was a retired cop who lives in a small little village and doesn't want to miss the pub quiz on a Wednesday. So it's just very, very easy reading. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. Well, I'm Hannah, and I'm Ladder M on everything: Insta, Twitter, social, like any socials. I've got Patreon as well, and I talk about a variety of different kinds of books. I'm not horror specific, but I do really enjoy gothic fiction, and I really, really enjoy horror. So anything that's kind of classical spooky, big time spooky, I'm definitely here for it. This evening, I am going to be packing boxes, so I am in the process of moving. So I'm going to listen to an audiobook, but I'm listening and reading along. So I will be doing Godslayers by Zoe Hannah Makuta, which is going to be for the David prompt, because I don't have any like super, super horror sci-fi books, but the cliffhanger that the first one of this duology ended on was so brutal that I'm assuming it's only going to get more violent and gruesome in the second one. So even though it's YA and it will be gentle in comparison to some of the other stuff that I've read recently, I think it would still tick off that prompt. And I'm quite excited to tick off another duology because I was really hoping to clear loads of books before I moved. As you can see by the TBR, I haven't. I haven't done that. So I'm hoping to tick off a few more this week so that they can just go and everything can just be unpacked while I'm there, and it's not a problem. So I will be in and out of like this room packing and next door whilst listening to this. I'm very excited about it. Yeah.
Mine's the face hugger prompt, I think. Cozy comfort read.
A cozy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
That's fair.
Nice.
So November is kind of wild for me because I'm going to London for I think 5 days, and I also am going to Spain for a week because I need to get a small surgery done, and I didn't count on that week, so I'm basically gonna be gone so long that I am in panic planning content for the channel and recording videos and like going insane. Like I'm finishing work because I'm gonna be gone for a lot longer than I anticipated. So basically, I've been just working every day, including weekends, from morning to evening.
Mhm.
So my reading is not going great. But
So you're going
I'm,
straight from London to Spain?
no, I'm coming back for like 4 days, and then I'm going almost to Spain. So, but I finished this one the other day, and it's fabulous. It's a new Grady Hendrix book, and you guys are not ready for this one. It's so different.
Mhm.
It's so good. I almost cried at the end. I'm like, I'm reading it, Grady Hendrix, and I'm about to cry. What's going on? So
No.
it's very, very different and very, very good. And now I'm like, I don't know what to pick up next. So I have 3 books. So you guys need to help me. So I have William, by Mason Coyle, and this is for the David prompt. So it's this guy that is an engineer, and he creates these AI, and he calls him William. And one day he introduces it to friends, and I'm guessing it doesn't go well. That's
Mhm.
so I don't know. I don't read so much sci-fi horror as I should. So I'm kind of intrigued about this one, and it's kind of like tiny for being a
That's nice and
hardcover.
short. That'd be a really quick
Yeah,
win for you. Yeah.
yeah. Then I have Survivor Song because I've had this one on my shelves for a very long time by Paul Tremblay, and I've read everything else by him. So I feel like I should maybe
Mhm.
potentially. And I have Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates, for the first prompt, because it takes place in the winter. And I've only read one other Darcy Coates book, and this has one of my favorite tropes, which is strangers are trapped somewhere and someone dies, so they know they are with a murderer, but who is the murderer? So I love those kind of tropes. I like people in difficult situations when the best and the worst of themselves comes out. So these are my choices. So let me know. Also, people in the comments, let me know what should start tonight.
I think the
What?
sci-fi horror. I'd go for the sci-fi horror myself,
Yeah, I'd go
just
William.
because I
I
love
think.
science fiction and I love horror.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm
Survivor's
excited
Song
because
is the
yeah, you read that one?
Survivor's Song. Yes, I have, and it's not my favourite by Paul Tremblay.
Mm,
And yeah, the Darcy Coates. The only one I've ever liked by her was From Beneath, I think, or something like that, or From Below. It was the one underwater anyway, the deep water one. Every
yeah.
one I've read since has just been a bit of a disappointment after that because it was so freaky.
Oh no.
So yeah, but yeah, you might love it.
Okay.
That's the thing about books, isn't it? That's the wonder of books, isn't it? You
Yeah,
can
I've
hate
only
it and
read.
somebody else loves it.
Yeah, like it happens all the time, and I don't. Sometimes, this is a hot take on the booktube community. Like, I don't understand why people get so heated up. Like somebody else loved the book that you hated, or the other way around. Like it's personal taste. Like,
I think because like there
you
is a
know.
little bit of that. Like it's really bizarre. So I've gone back to working in a school after being self-employed for 5 years. So everything is now back through that lens, but having been
Mm,
away from education. So going to school, going to uni, training to be a teacher, then being self-employed for 5 years, and then going back in has really
Yeah.
kind of like it's weird how many things are because we are institutionalized to do that. Because like everything at school is competitive. So
mm,
you're put in
yeah.
houses. So you're competing against it. It's arbitrary. It's completely arbitrary. You've just been organized into a group, and now this house is rivals with that house. So we do things better than you do them. And it's like, on what? Based on what? Like and I think that's the thing. So when it comes to like personal taste, I don't even think it's necessarily that people are like, you should like it, which is what they're saying. But what they're thinking is, are you saying I'm wrong because I do like it? Like, and that's the
Yeah,
thing, it's
yeah,
a
yeah,
defense thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So, like, I'm really bad for like, I won't just be like, I didn't like that. And I really should just do that. What I do instead is I go, that wasn't good because of these reasons. Because
Yeah,
I'm preparing
I'll do the same.
myself to be
yeah.
like, okay, I know you're going to be mad at me. So, like, for a prime example, and I've brought this up like countless times on my channel, I cannot stand the book Addie LaRue. Can't stand it. I think it is one of the most boring books ever written. And when
Oh God, I
I
was bored to death. I nearly fell asleep.
genuinely, so me and Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe Buddy read it, and we both didn't like it. And whilst Olivia on their channel was just like, yeah, I didn't love it. I was like, this book is terrible, and just like was just like listing things because I was very aware that at the time the hype was so like invested in Addie LaRue, and you know
Huge.
there are like 8 or 9 different editions, just in the UK. You know there were like special editions and variety and things like that. And I was like, this is not an attack on V.E. Schwab. Like V.E. Schwab has clearly found her audience. People love V.E. Schwab. This is an attack on the fact that these things are not good in a book, in my opinion. And if someone goes, well, I don't mind any of those things, I just like the story, fine. Like we're not going to not be friends because of it. But I just know that I'm a very intense being when I don't like something, because I am as intense if I do like something. But the difference is if I liked a book, so there's a book called Ruin Song by Julia Ember, and it is a sapphic enemies to lovers based on Phantom of the Opera. And it's so rushed, like they just cram so much in, but she tortures a kid with song, like singing, and burns him alive in the first chapter. And I was like, sold, love this, like this is great. You know, there are some really, really cool scenes. I have recommended it to so many people and none of them have liked it. Like everyone's had like a long list of things they don't like about it. And it doesn't bother me because I love it. And I think it's really, really hard when people don't like something you like, because it feels like a personal attack. Whereas I'm recommending, and we all do this all the time, we're recommending stuff to people so often that it almost loses that shine. It doesn't matter if you don't like the thing that I recommend. And I guess if you're both horror specific anyway, if someone comes along and goes, oh, well, I don't really like horror, and you're like, cool, not my audience. Like, it doesn't matter. It's not, it doesn't have to be that deep. Whereas other people are like, no, you're personally attacking my entire personality. And that's a them problem, you know? So, yeah.
I mean, I read, majority is horror. 90% of the stuff I read is horror. Most of it indie horror, most of it extreme. But the only thing I will not read, absolutely point blank, is romance. I detest it with such intensity. I can't even tell you. The second there's any romance in a book, I just want to fling it in a wall. I can't tolerate it. It makes me feel physically sick. But my best friend, loves romance. So, you know, she absolutely loves it. She reads, that's all she reads, and she hates horror. We've been friends for 30 years. So I think, you know, it doesn't do to, if we all were the same, it'd be a really blinking boring world, wouldn't it? It'd be really boring.
God.
But the only thing that I have learned
I'll
is
read
like,
I'll read everything. I'll read anything.
yeah, the thing that I have learned is, you know, through the years I used to do videos like 10 books that I hated in last year and stuff like that, and I stopped doing those videos because I don't think it's fair. Because, you know, the authors put a lot of time and effort into their books, and it takes them a long time to get published, and the books might have not been for me, but I don't need to make a specific video hating on books
That's
that
fair.
other people might love. And I feel
Yeah.
like maybe if I make a video and I have a very small channel, but maybe people are like, I'm not going to read that because she said it was bad, you know. And I have the feeling that I don't want to be super negative. Like if I don't like a book, I'm going to say, okay, I didn't like the characters, I didn't like this, I didn't like the story, I think it was boring. But I don't like to hate on things as much as I used to, because I'm conscious that then people might not pick it up and they might love it, you know. Like it was just a me thing, because
Yeah.
reading is very personal. So I recommend books that even I didn't like, but I think other people might like. So, you know,
I think that's fine if you're saying like, I didn't love this, but I'd recommend it for these reasons. I will not recommend a book if I didn't like it. Like I will say straight up, I didn't like this, and I will discourage people from reading it, because I watch content from people where I love their content, but our reading tastes could not be more different.
yeah,
So like, I'm not going to say
Yeah.
who, but there is a big booktuber, and I adore their content. You know, they make great vlogs, they do loads of lists, they do all kinds of things. And anytime they say, you have to buy this book, I go, no, thank you. Like, it's immediately like, because I know our tastes are so different. So I don't mind that when they're like, oh my God, I hated this book. It just, I didn't like it. All these things. And I'm like, I'm going to give that one a go. And like, because 9 times out of 10, I will adore it. And I think I think there is a lot of like there was a real upswing, and I know Gavin got it in the neck massively from a lot of middle grade authors who were like, don't, if you're not going to rate it higher than a 3, don't bother rating it, and like, don't tell people you hated my book, I've worked really hard on it, blah 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 blah. To my mind, and like, and this is coming from someone who is a querying author, so like, I'm trying to sell my book. I want to be in publishing. I want people to buy the books that I write, not just the books that I recommend reading. You've found your audience already. Like, you've sold enough books that your publisher's giving you a second book deal, or you were like, the average debut for like middle grade, I think, is somewhere between 12 and 27k. So you've made a year's salary. Now, it may have taken you 5 years to write it, but I tell you what it's not going to do. It's not going to be more difficult to sell the next one, right? Because you already have. Not only have you found your audience in the general public, you have found an agent who backs your writing. You have found a commissioning editor who backs your writing, and a sales team who back your writing, and a marketing team who back, like, they're not on their own. And it really aggravates me when I see authors being like, it was really hard. Yeah, it is. Writing a book is really hard. Like, that's why not everyone does it. But there are enough people, there is a it's competitive for sure. And because of that, you know, we, like you said, the world would be so boring if all of our tastes were the same. If we were only ever critical of things that were like long past, nothing would improve either. Because I think like there's been times when I've read like the 4th or 5th book of an author, loved it, and then I've gone to their debut book and I've thought, this just isn't as good. And it's because they haven't had the same team behind those works. So after a few years, their skills have increased. And like Sarah J. Maas is a prime example. I can't stand the Throne of Glass series. Like, I just can't stand it. But I did really like the first Crescent City, and like really, really enjoyed like that series. It's so different. So going backwards is really hard. But I've got no, I think it's really interesting when we say like, these authors have worked really hard. I think independent authors, yeah, because they're doing everything, right? Like, they're marketing their stuff on their own. They've written it themselves. They've had to pay for an editing team. Like, authors, the by nature of being traditionally published, are at least financially supported in a way that independents aren't. And I think we are promoting their books for free. Like, fundamentally, even if you get gifted a book, you are still sharing that information with people for nothing. And like, yeah, it's one thing, like, obviously we've got Patreons. It'd be one thing if we put it all behind a paywall, but we haven't. So I don't think there's any point censoring yourself. If you don't like making the content, like, that's absolutely fine. But I tell you what, if someone makes an I hated these books video, I am lapping that up. Like, I love those videos. I love them so much.
I don't ever post a negative review, because anything, I don't score anything below 3. If it was below a 3, I'll have DNF'd it 50 pages in, and I don't review stuff that I haven't finished. And I mean, a lot of my stuff with independents is doing the stuff that they can't afford. So I edit, I beta read, I proofread. Do you know? Because one of my degrees is in English, so I do. So that's what I do, and because they have to do everything themselves, and I'm happy to do that for nothing, because they haven't got the money to pay me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't review anything I haven't. If I don't like it, I just don't. I don't care. I'll just fling it away. You know,
they've already had your money, so they've had your support. They don't need, like, fundamentally, they are never going to know unless they go looking for it. And if they do go looking for it, then more for them. You know, like, I self-published a novella, a YA romance. You wouldn't read it, Sharron. It's a YA romance, but it is quite funny because I used to work in the wedding industry. So it's all about being a bridesmaid and kind of like behind the scenes of the wedding industry. And I rarely, if ever, check the Goodreads page of that book, because it's not for me. It's for other people that might want to read it or are looking to know more about my writing. Yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong, on occasion, I have looked at it. And I think there was once where someone had left a really long review of all the things that they thought needed improvement. And they put like a load of work into it. And like, I didn't like this doesn't work, this doesn't work. And I just commented underneath it being like, thank you for such a thorough review. Like not even sarcastically. This has been like really helpful. And they were like, oh, I didn't expect you to see it. And I was like, I'm not mad about it. Like, I'm not worried that you've left this review, because fundamentally people are going to read it and they may have exactly the same thoughts that you did. Or they might read your review and go, actually, that's too many flaws for me to read it. Or they might ignore it entirely. It's not the end of the world. A bad review is not the end of the world. And I think authors that get really, for lack of a better phrase, butthurt about getting bad reviews, whilst ignoring the fact that their sales are doing really well, I just don't get it. I just don't get it, because it's like needing everyone to be your best friend, or for everyone to think you're their best friend. And you can't be. You are not going to be everyone's taste, in the same way that not every film or every. Do you know what I mean? Like it's so it's juvenile. I think fundamentally, like, it's juvenile to be like, oh well, like, you know. I think if you don't want to, I think it should be a personal choice. But
No, but it's like putting up content in social media. You know, people are going to judge you. So if you cannot take the criticism, then
Don't do it.
You know, don't do it, because it's going to happen. People are going to be like, I hated your video, or I don't agree with your review, or it's normal. You know, we're all very different. I've had also sometimes people being like, you didn't pronounce this word correctly. And, or I find your video boring. And I'm like, you can click away, go somewhere else. Like, you know, like literally, you didn't even have to leave a comment. Like,
it's like when people say, I'm not following you anymore, I'm leaving. I'm like, it's not a bloody airport, love. You don't have to declare you're leaving, just go. You know what I mean? I don't really care whether you like it or not. I don't do it for you, I do it for me. If other people enjoy it, that's fantastic. And I've met some wonderful people, and a lot of fantastic people, and a wonderful community, which has been a godsend to me this year. And you know, so I just thought, if I'm not for you, that's fine. Move away. And actually, with horror, if I go onto Goodreads and I see a 1-star review, there's a good chance I'm going to pick that book up, because the person who leaves a 1-star review doesn't like horror and it's freaked them out. So that's a good sign of a good book to me. Oh, this was too gory. Fantastic. Bring it on.
Sign me up.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just going through Goodreads today, and there was a horror book, and one of the reviews was like, I didn't like it because it was too disturbing. And I'm like,
sign me up. Yeah.
Literally horror. Like, like, what do you mean? Like,
I can't remember which book it was. I feel like it might have been a Kylie Reid book. It was certainly like a modern contemporary novel, and someone had left like a 1-star review and was like, this woman was just too messy and I disagreed with all of her choices. And I was like, cool, like, okay.
Sounds like me.
I was like, because like I really struggle sometimes with characters I don't like, but I have never struggled with an unlikable character, because I'm like, they're so interesting. So I'm like, messy, you say? And where can I purchase?
Where's my card? Oh, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Online shopping is lethal, isn't it?
Well, I've got an online bookshop, so it's even worse, because I'm like, I get stock in for other people, and then I'm like, and just a couple of bits for me.
Oh, I couldn't do it. I mean, I couldn't do it anyway because I can't stand very well, but I couldn't do it. I'd be bankrupt if I worked in a bookshop.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
I'd be like, what, you touching those books? You're not allowed to touch them.
Yeah.
Those are my personal supply.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, is like, what's really bad is I'll be like, technically, this is stock. But the moment I have space on this shelf, it's not gonna be. And then like I had a couple of the dangerous thing about that is I'll get like hardbacks in of something I really want to read, and it will go in as stock. And because it's stock, if I then sell it, I'm like, no, grumble, and I'll like send it out and get another copy in. There was a book, I can't even remember which one it was. I feel like it might have been Hamnet. No, it couldn't have been, because that's still available as a hardback. There was something that every time I got it in, it sold out again. And it was so like, it was reprinted like 3 times. So there was like these massive gaps where I couldn't get it. And then it was printed as a paperback. And I was just like, presses. Like I could just not keep it for love nor money. And I probably should have just put it to one side, but I do try. And actually, I know why it was. It was because I was in the middle of my TBR challenge with Olivia, and I was like,
Oh,
I
yeah,
cannot
yeah.
put it on my TBR until I've read something else. So yeah, it was painful.
I've
Very,
got
very
to the
painful.
point now, where I'm in my mid-50s, where I realise I am going to die before I read everything I own, and I'm fine with that because I'm fine with it because they're there, they're waiting for when they're ripe and they're ready to read.
Mhm.
And if I don't get to them, I'm going to come back as a ghost and finish it off.
Fantastic.
So
Exactly.
that's my
Exactly.
plan. It doesn't
And
stop
you've
me
got
buying
eternity.
more.
Exactly.
Eternity to read. I know.
Exactly. The dream.
Oh, my cat's.
Okay,
Oh,
let
the
me
cat's
check the
cute.
comments, but this
Hello,
guy,
cutie cat. My cat's still unconscious.
yeah, he's been very cuddly because
Hello,
mommy's been going.
gorgeous. How's Bellatrix? Is she all right?
What? Oh, you mean Drusilla?
Oh, Drusilla, why do you think she was called
Yes.
Bellatrix?
I
Who's
don't
got a
know,
cat called Bellatrix? Somebody has
but
a
it's a
black
good name
cat,
for a cat,
and they
actually.
have
It's a
the
strong
same
name.
same at the same time as you. I'll think
Yeah,
of them in a minute.
she's 6 months now. I
Oh,
just gave her a
wow.
bath yesterday. She's doing good.
My black boys are fast asleep, and the ginger girl is on she's on surveillance. That's what she does all night round the house. Um, but the boys are unconscious. They're like
I have
this.
no idea where my cats are. They've gone for a wander.
I'm gonna go check the comments so we can do a sprint. Hello, Stephen.
Hi,
Hope you made
Stephen.
it.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Larissa.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello, Andreas.
Andreas. See, we're already making
I'm
people buy
sorry about that,
books.
bub. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I guess I'm reading the sci-fi
Yeah,
book.
William.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Oh, nice, nice. Happy to help. Let us know what you'll be reading. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
reckon
I'll
you'll
start.
finish William in a sprint in a bit.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how many
Is
pages
the
it has.
writing really tiny?
No, it's fine. It's like 213 pages. So not too bad. We'll see.
Hmm.
DNF horror movie. Ooh, I have it on my TBR, but I wanted to make a vlog where I read only books that are horror books about making horror movies or involve horror movies because there were so many that came out this year that I have just been piling them up
Mhm.
to
That
read
was
them
a
all together in a vlog, but I still haven't had the time. So,
it was a strange one for me because it was one that I
um,
did get through, but I wasn't tempted to pick it up. I usually read 4 or 5 at the same time, and I wasn't tempted to pick it up. When I got to the end of it, I enjoyed it, I
hmm,
think. But
I
yeah,
think
it's not an immediate. I mean, it's not like a 5-star read. It's possibly
hmm,
3.5. Um, it's an
interesting.
interesting idea. I'm not quite sure whether it was successful or not.
For me, his weirdest one was the polar bears club thing. That
Oh
was
my
so
god,
weird.
Paul Bearers Club was weird.
Yeah, that was so weird. That's the weirdest one I've read by him so far.
I
And
don't think he's ever really got better than Head Full of Ghosts.
hmm,
That to me is the best one he's ever written.
my favorite is still Coming at the End of the World, which is the first
That
one I
one's
read.
that one's a close
So
second for me. Those
yeah,
two.
yeah.
Everything else has been a bit of a disappointment.
The disappearance on something rock, I think, was okay. It was more of a thriller than a horror, maybe.
Yeah,
It's this mother that the kids are missing because they went on a like into the woods and they didn't come back. And I mean, it's kind of like a disturbing thriller kind of thing. I don't know if you read it.
yeah. Well, I've read all of these, so probably, but
Yeah.
is that memorable? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
exactly. But yeah, if something you're not enjoying DNF, absolutely. A book for the winter
Uh,
cold place
the thing in the
prompt.
wind. The thing in the wind sounds fantastic.
What is the thing in the wind?
Is it like the thing the movie? Because if it is, that is the one of the most underrated horror films ever made.
Mm, it's still one of the best body horrors out there.
Oh, it's the best body horror, I think. Yeah, I agree.
Yes,
The thing, the
see?
thing in the wind sounds fantastic.
We all agree. Oh, this is for you, Hannah. It's for
Yeah,
you.
I think so. I don't think we should ever peer pressure anyone into reading something, and I don't think it'd be Sharon's vibe
My
at
friend
all.
might
It's
read it
very silly.
though, so
Yeah, that's fair.
my friend would love it probably. But no, I just, no, I can't. I just can't. I just
Well, this
can't
is
do
what's
That's
it.
really
fair.
what's really funny about it. So I did an undergrad in English lit with creative writing, and then I went and did a master's in creative writing as well. And my best friend's mum, my brother's godmum, is a principal of a school, but she was an English teacher first, and she also has a master's in English. And she bought it and read it to support me.
Mm.
And she called me one day. She was like, "It's actually all right." I was like, "Thank you." Like, less of
Oh,
the
it's all
actually. Yeah,
right.
it's actually quite good.
Don't be
Like,
too effusive, love. It's
yeah,
all right.
no, she was like, I had a good time with that one, and I was like, good, I'm glad. And then
Oh,
like, I've
God.
had like a couple of other people that like they like I don't really like romance, but yours was okay, and I'm like, good. Why? Like, what is it about it that you've decided is? Yeah, it just really tickles me. So there's been a
Oh.
few people that like are staunchly. Like my flatmate Lizzie's a prime example. Lizzie is like, I don't read romance. They don't mind romance as a subplot, but
Mhm.
Yeah, me
it's not a
too.
Like a
genre they
fully,
reach
yeah,
for.
yeah.
Yeah,
If
and they
it's
won't
part of the
like
story, if it happens naturally in the story, it doesn't bother me as long
yeah,
as it's not the main
yeah.
part
Yeah,
of the
like they won't
story,
read a
and they
contemporary
die at the
romance.
end,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, exactly. And Lizzie was like, "Yeah, I liked it. That's annoying." Like, they were just like so put out that they liked it. So I think it's quite funny. So I think it has something for everybody because it is definitely a rom com. Like it's
Mm.
definitely like a good balance. Because I think for me, as I was getting really when I wrote it, I was getting really sick of being sold these books that were romance comedies, and they weren't. They were just romances or love
Romance, yeah.
stories
Yeah,
marketed as romances. And I was like, but where's the funny? Like, I'm not laughing at any of these. So I wanted to write one that would actually make people laugh.
make
I
you laugh.
think, to be honest, and I wrote this before I read Richard Osman's books. I think if you like that kind of like British comedy of Richard Osman, I think regardless of the genre, you would probably enjoy this. But it is a romance. Like it does follow a young girl who gets dumped 2 weeks before she has to be a bridesmaid at her aunt's wedding, and she's surrounded by all this smushy stuff, and she's like, why? And then she keeps embarrassing herself in front of this really cute boy, and it all turns out well. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's that kind of thing. So it is very kind of like classic 90s rom-com or like early
Mm.
noughties rom-com. So like Princess Diaries, Chalet Girl, like very much that kind of comedy. um
Yeah,
but it was because it was the kind of romance comedy that I wanted to read, and I have
yeah. It's the best
started
reason to
book
read to
two.
write it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's fair. Like I would give a book 2 stars, and I would, when I do my wrap up, if I gave it 2 stars, I gave it 2 stars. I'm not gonna hide it, or I don't inflate ratings either. But I still say, if you like short stories, if you like vampire books, maybe you want to try it, but it didn't work for me, and I gave it
Mhm.
only 2 stars. I just, don't want to say people this is the absolute worst book you will ever read.
Mhm.
Because like if I'm doing a reading vlog, I might talk a little bit more into detail of why I'm not liking it and stuff like that. But I will definitely comment things that didn't work, that I didn't like, that I think they were not done well. um and I will always be honest with my ratings. Like I'm not gonna say,
No,
oh, I
me
didn't
too.
like it, but I'm gonna give it a 3 because I don't want to be negative. No, if I have to give it a 2 or a 1.5, then I'll give it.
It's because in my
um
head, it's because I would not have read it. I would have not finished
yeah.
it, and so I don't rate if I haven't finished it. Anything under a 3 star to me, I'll have DNF'd
Yeah,
within
like I'm
a
doing
couple
much
of
better.
chapters.
I used
Yeah.
to be unable to DNF, and that was a problem for me because I like to finish things. It's part of my OCD, I guess. I need to finish things if I start them. So it's something that I've been working on because sometimes books are not working and I've been pushing myself to finish them. And I think I'm also doing a better job, apart from DNFing, to choose books that fit me better. Because I think through the
Yeah, you
years,
get
the
used to
more
your
you
own
read, the
style.
more you
Yeah.
know what to pick. Like you make better choices.
And also the older you get, I'm middle
Yeah.
aged. I haven't got time to read a book that's crap. I've got so many other books I need to
I need
get
a
through.
T-shirt that says, "I don't have time to read a book this crap."
No,
I
do you
need
know
a
what I mean? I just
T-shirt.
don't. So it's easy for me. I said, but as you get older, you're like, no, I'm not going to waste
Yeah,
my time when I could just put
yeah.
that to one side and pick up what I want to read.
When I started watching BookTube, I didn't even see anybody talking about horror. I saw the big channels, like Jesse the Reader and Kayla and everybody, and I started reading a lot of those fantasy books that everybody was reading in the BookTube community, years ago, and I enjoyed some of them, but I realized that it was just not exactly my cup of tea, you know.
No, I don't like
Mhm.
Um,
fantasy. Unless it's like
and
high
yeah,
fantasy like Lord of the Rings or funny fantasy like Terry Pratchett, I don't read fantasy.
yeah. Hello.
Hey, Priscilla.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
that's the thing, you know, that sometimes you think, oh, this
Sometimes
book
it's
is
the
really bad,
vibe,
but
isn't it? Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, it is. Massively.
Yeah, me too. Like, you know, I go like I've said it a lot of times. Normally I go from horror to romance. Like in between there's not much for me. Sometimes I cozy thriller, but I do like a romance here and there, especially if there's enemies to lovers. That's one of my favorite tropes, and you know, I don't mind recognizing it. I don't like triangles so much, but enemies to lovers I like it because I feel like it's very tension building and it's fun for me. I think there's a lot of banter when there are enemies to lovers, so there's a little bit of comedy in there as well.
Mhm.
So it's not just mush or drama, or you know, at least it's funny when
Yeah.
they're hating each other and pranking each other or whatever.
Mhm.
I think it's fun,
Yeah.
I
but
think
don't read them too
a
often.
lot of horror people I know read
Yeah,
either really horrific horror or
yeah.
really soppy romance, and
Mm.
a lot of horror people do that, except me. But most people flip between the two. Yeah,
I'm like either Terrifier or Heartstopper level. You know, it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Me, well, I'm like Terrifier and middle grade. I love a
yeah,
middle
middle
grade
grade.
read as a palate cleanser, and there's some such fantastic middle grade books at the moment. Or
Yes.
YA, you know, so
Mhm.
I'll flip between those pretty much. Yeah.
Ooh,
Cute.
more reviews to come, Hannah. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fair.
that's fair.
They
I
say
only give I only give 1 stars to books that I've DNF'd. So if I'm like,
Um,
I finished this somehow but hated it, it's 2 stars. And then 3 stars is it's either written really well, but I didn't care, or it was written really poorly, but I loved it. It's just not a
mm,
4 stars. 4 stars is generally where books live. If I'm like, I liked this, I want to keep it, it was good. I've got some stuff that I'm not happy with, but like generally it was great. And 5 stars is buckle up. I've got stuff to say. This was great. Like it's.
nice. A reading challenge, the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. Oh, that's
ooh.
hard.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that one, Nina, actually. Because I don't think I could do a challenge where I couldn't DNF.
Mm.
Yeah, that's
Because
true.
I quite enjoy it.
DNFA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
used to do
again,
that. I'm bad.
Yeah, Priscilla's really just a really nice person. So they're
I
very
know.
much someone works really hard on this. I can finish it. You don't need to.
I'm not going to throw it away. I'd give the book away or I'd donate the book. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's just not for me. So somebody else might love it.
Exactly. It
But
will find its audience.
I'm too old to spend time on books I don't like.
You know, the thing for me depends is like if I'm already halfway through, I have a harder time DNFing it. If I started and by chapter 2 or 3, I'm like, it's not working, and I already know, it's easier for me to say, okay, let's put it away. But if I'm
Yeah.
already like 50, 60% into the book, I'm like, maybe I might as well just just
I'll
finish.
give it
Yeah.
50 pages. I'll give it 50 pages. If it's a normal size book, you know, 400 or 500 pages, I'll give it 50 pages maximum.
Hmm.
But usually I
Yeah.
can tell within a chapter that it's just not for me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
You
give
can
it
usually
3
tell, can't you?
chapters usually. Yeah, I give it 3 chapters because generally a querying agent will only accept 3 chapters. So I'm like,
Hmm.
there must be something in here that was of interest. And if I can't find it, then it's not for me.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
the quickest I've ever DNF'd a book is after a paragraph.
Wow.
Like, I
Mine was
I
the
picked
first line. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Jesus.
picked I picked up this book and I can tell I don't know who it was by, but it was called Domestic Violets. And the first paragraph is just this guy talking about how flaccid his penis is and how he wishes it
Ew.
wasn't like, and I was like, I don't need that. And it was like I realized it was going to be a full page of it, and I was like, I'm good.
No,
And just
no, I'm done.
immediately DNF'd. But I can't remember who it was that said it. Someone Nina said that their motto, I think it's the next comment. My motto in life is that life is too short for boring books and matching socks.
I
And
agree.
mine is very much reading is not a hostage situation. Like no one's holding a gun to your head that you have to finish that book.
Or wearing a bra when you're in the house. I think that's another rule. That's another motto for life.
Yeah, I'm just like, what's the point? What is the point? So
unless you want to, obviously. Your body, your choice.
Oh, Night Terrors. I don't think I've read that one.
Yeah.
No. Smutty romance or anything like dark romance. I don't like smut, but it depends the way that it's done. I don't know how to describe that.
I don't actively pursue it, but I don't mind it. I just
No.
I could just
I
take
don't
or
think
leave
dark
it.
romance is for me though. I don't think
If
it's
it's
for
part of
me.
the plot, is fine as long as it's not like, you know, a 15-page sex scene. Then I'm just like, oh, please get over
You're like, they're
yourself.
still going.
Yeah.
I think what's really funny to me is you don't really get, or at least maybe you do, but I haven't found them. You don't really get horror readers that are like, yeah, I love this book because it's all like and listing all the gory stuff, and they're like, I won't read a book unless there's 3 like knifings or whatever, and I love it when they describe all this stuff. Girlies that read romance love telling you that they read smutty romance. Like it's like their favorite thing is like, yeah, I read smutty romance, and I'm like, cool, good for you, babe. And like that's fine. Like it just really it's like it's the one genre where like they get really like teehee, I read this thing, and we're like, okay, cool. Actually, no, that's a lie. It is not the only genre. The other genre of people are men who refuse to read anything except nonfiction, who have to tell you that's all they read. Like the worst kind of man, honestly.
I mean, I love a non-fiction. I love a non-fiction, but it's just pretentious, isn't it? All I read is non-fiction.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't like make-believe. So I assume you only watch documentaries and you only read things.
And
like,
that's it. Boring.
Like,
you don't watch anything else. Cool. You don't watch a film.
Exactly.
Yeah, I used to work next to a guy. We sat next to each other for years in the office. And I mean, I'm still really good friends. You know, we still work in the same company. But I remember he was like, I don't watch horror. I don't watch science fiction. I don't watch like fantasy because those things are not reality. I only watch like dramas. And I'm like,
you've got to feel sorry for him.
I want to leave this earth. I want to see something else. I hate it here. Like,
it's so sad that they just don't have the joy.
Yeah,
reading is a joy.
It is.
You disappear into it, and it's another world, and that's the whole point. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Because reality is often shit. So you go into it to get away from
reality,
that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I feel very sorry for people when they're like, I feel sad for them that they're not.
So I've got my I've got a subscription box that I do, and my mum signed up. And she was like, I don't want any fantasy. And I was like, oh, like, how come? Like, just out of interest, like, that's fine. I don't have to recommend you fantasy. How come? And she's like, oh, I just don't believe it. And I'm like, is it because it's not real? Is that what it is?
She has to explain about unicorns.
I was like, you know that EastEnders isn't real too, right? Like, she's like, no,
that's
I know,
so
but
sweet.
It's real people. And I was like, it isn't. Like, it's not. It's sensationalized. Do you know what I mean? So I recommended her. I was like, look, I'm gonna do it gently. We're gonna do magical realism, and it's gonna be written into a contemporary. So it is definitely a contemporary, but it has like a little summer. And I gave her Family Law by Elizabeth Acevedo. Have either of you read it?
Great book. Yes.
Oh, spectacular. The whole way through it, she was like, I don't know why you recommended this to me. I'm not really enjoying it. I don't really get it. I don't understand any of the Spanish. And I'm like, that's kind of the point, but okay. That's neither here nor there. And she's like, yeah, and like these magical powers aren't very magical, are they? And I was like, again, that is why I've recommended it to you. Anyway, she finishes it. She called me. She went, I cried. And I was like, yes, that is the correct response. Like she was like, so it was just really funny. I was like, but I gave you this thing because it was a gentle, like it has a sprinkling of it. It's not real magic or like high fantasy magic. And then I recommended her a Susan Dennard book that is just high fantasy, like it's just magic's happening. And she was like, oh yeah, it was great. And I was like, oh, so we can make you believe.
Gentle, didn't you?
Yeah.
You just gently.
And I was thinking, I was like, we used to listen to Terry Pratchett audiobooks on the drive to
I love
like on
Terry
holiday and
Pratchett.
stuff. I'm like,
That would
I'm
be
like,
my desert island collection.
yeah,
Wasn't a desert island, the whole Discworld.
yeah,
That's what
all
I'd take
42
with
books.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah, all of them. I
yeah.
bought them as they came out. That's how old I am.
Wow.
And
Oh,
I had to wait for them to come out. So I'm very jealous of people just finding it now they can buy the whole lot.
Mm.
well, I'm doing the canvas editions, so I've got up here. I'm on Weird Sisters, so it's up here. You can't see it, but it's in
Yeah.
this corner.
Mm.
So what I'm doing is I'm reading my way through each of the series individually and collecting the canvas copies as I go. So there was I did the Rincewind series. The only book that they don't have a canvas copy for was the one where the barbarian climbs up the mountain and fights the gods. I can't remember what it's called. But so I was like, I did all of them, and now I'm on the witches
Mine
series.
are
I'm
all
really
there.
enjoying
They're
it.
behind me. Because they were never released in hardback back in the day. They only came out in paperback. So you had to collect. I collected them all, and most of them are signed. And bless him. I miss him dreadfully. It's very sad.
Mm.
Very, very sad. But love it. That's what I would take. I'd just take that whole
Yeah.
shelf with me.
Yeah,
Pack it in my case, take me to a
yeah,
desert island.
and you'll be set. You'll be set for life.
Yeah.
And then the Books of Blood by Clive Barker. I'll take them as
Mhm.
well. And my limited edition copy of Kin by Kin and Patrick Burke.
Okay,
Oh,
nice.
look. Favorite middle grades. Don't know if I have
Oh,
favorites.
the Rules for Vampires are fantastic by Alex Folks.
Wait.
They're really, really good. Very funny. Horror about a 111-year-old vampire and a ghost. Brilliant.
Cute.
She's also just written one called Ministry of Mischief, which is brilliant, which is all about imp world. And it's like those, when you fall over because your laces have come undone. It turns out it's not an accident. There's little imps that are coming from this world to do that to you. And that was really fun. They're also partly illustrated. Both of those are brilliant.
I like the Evelyn Jones books. There's 3, but they're very
Evelyn Jones are
cozy.
brilliant.
They're
They're
very,
great.
very
Alan Jones
cozy.
is fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I
I
think
like
there's
Is it the
for everybody.
Morrigan ones as
Yeah.
well? Is the Morrigan one? Is it Morrigan?
I
Morrigan
don't.
Crow. Is it Morrigan
Morrigan
Crow?
Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But those
love
are more
those books as
fantasy,
well.
right? I
Mhm.
think so.
Yeah, those are more fantasy.
Yeah.
And then there's Catherine Foxfield brought out 2 books called Things That Go Bump in the Night
Oh,
and
yeah.
Attack of the Killer Worms, and those are really, really funny too. Real fun middle grade, proper adventures,
Yeah. I
That's a
like Chris
couple.
Priestley's Tales of Terror. So like he's got like a few
Yep.
books.
Oops.
I just find them so insidious because they're not jump scares because they're for kids, and it's not gory because it's for kids, and yet somehow it's
It's
scarier.
creepy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really creepy. So yeah, they're fantastic. Love Evelyn Jones. I really liked the first Vampirates book. I didn't enjoy the sequels. I really struggled, but the first, like as a standalone, you could definitely just read the Vampirates book. That's a really good time by Justin Somper. And then I also really enjoy Pages and Co. That series.
Mm.
Pig Heart Boy by Mallory Blackman is a
Yeah.
fantastic middle grade, and Ella Enchanted is just a good time.
I love Ella Enchanted. I mean, I know you work in school. I work for special education. I pay the fees. That's what I do. But I work in special education for my local authority. And yeah, I absolutely I love dealing with the teachers when I go into the schools.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what have they got on the bookshelves?
Yeah.
It's
Speaking of
brilliant.
which, Elle McNichols as well as an author is fantastic. So, Kind of Spark, Like a Curse, like they're fantastic.
Okay, let me see.
Excellent. That's a lot of choice there for you, darling.
Yes.
A lot of choice to pick from.
Ooh,
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I
I don't
love
know
you.
this one.
Isn't that a song? I love you. I love you. That was a song, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, but I don't
Is it
remember
these
which.
words? Is it Natasha Bedingfield?
That's it. It's Astra Bedingfield.
Oh.
These words are my own. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
that's
exactly
it.
what I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I either donate it or I'll give it to somebody, a friend or something who I think will like it. Especially my special editions. The book boxes I get,
Hmm.
like the Evernight one, which I'm disappointed. I won't read that because I don't like dark academia, so that will automatically be sent to somebody. That
Hmm.
my friend's already going to have that.
Yeah.
No, I'll read too many. I think you'll find.
I'm just trying to make better choices. I'm trying my best. Ooh,
Interesting.
wow. It's one of my favorite
Me too. One of my
fantasy
favourite series
series.
is
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that series.
Although I've come to the conclusion he's not going to finish it before he dies,
No,
so we're just going to have to live with that. My
I've
No,
darling,
I'm
aren't we?
accepted
I'm
it.
convinced. I'm convinced he has finished it, but it's in a vault
Post,
somewhere.
it's gonna
That's
be
like part of his
post-mortem.
will, and it won't be released until after he's died.
Yeah,
I
that's
can live
fair.
with that.
Every time he meets with Stephen King, I'm like, give him some tips on actually writing a book a year, please, or two a
I
year.
mean, he must be close to death, hadn't he? I mean, he looks half dead. He's beginning to look like a White Walker, isn't he?
Just a little bit.
Ruthless Sharon. Yeah, that's fair.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
as long as they don't go on for pages, because you're like, oh, get over yourself.
Who's got the time?
None of us got the time for that.
The
Yeah.
line between steamy, yeah, sticky.
Steamy and sticky.
Fair, fair.
I love that. I
That's
want
so
it steamy
fair.
and
Exactly.
sticky, please.
Yeah.
Now
Also,
I can
also
figure
like
out his
tacky,
wife.
like sometimes the way they talk to each other, I'm like, absolutely not. Like,
Oh, it's when it makes you cringe. Like there's
yeah,
a like I
Yeah.
have a real thing
absolutely
Or
not.
sometimes.
laugh.
Yeah, I love listening to an audiobook, and
Oh
sometimes they'll say
no.
something like in a romance scene, and I'm like, oh, like if
Ugh.
you actually said that to another human being, you just wish the world would swallow you up. Like
One of
I'd
my
be,
icks
I'd be embarrassed.
is the word baby. It's one of my icks. I'm like, ugh.
Mm-mm.
Like,
I
ugh.
Do you know
can't
the
do it.
strange thing is, and it's actually mainly straight relationships I find icky. I
Mm,
Yeah,
don't find
it's-
it so much when you read sapphic or gay relationships.
yeah.
They just seem, I don't know, they're done differently. And it
Mm,
just seems far more realistic. I don't know.
I think
When
maybe
this,
it's like sometimes they're more respectful of it, and it's just like it just
yeah,
feels less cringe. I just
it's just
yeah,
more
as a
realistic. I
straight
think,
person, I find
yeah,
straight people cringe.
yeah. I mean, exactly. Me too. I mean, no, I'm queer, but I was married, obviously, to a man, and but yeah, I'm just like nobody says those things, do they? In a straight
yeah.
relationship, they don't.
No.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing's what is
No, a lot of
real. Who
things
knows?
are
We're all in the
changed.
matrix, aren't we? None of
Yeah.
it's real.
None of it's real.
Hello. Ooh, that's a big one.
Oh, I still love the film, the original film. I had such a crush on
Yeah.
David Soul. I went to see that when it came out. That's how old I am. And oh, I love that. I love that film, the original film.
I still have to watch the new one.
It's not very good, supposedly, sadly. Yeah,
Mm.
I agree. His early ones are better because that's when he was stoned all
Ooh.
the time.
Yeah, that's fair.
Cute.
Oh, interesting.
I love the fact that you're learning English from Terry Pratchett. That is superb. I mean, that's spectacular because the man was a stand-up genius.
Mm. Ooh, okay. Yeah,
It
we're
looks
gonna
good.
get this print soon. We're just talking too much today.
Well,
A
Yeah,
lot
we've
too
been
yeah.
much
talking for
You
an
need
happening.
to rein
hour.
us in. You need to rein us in.
Uh, okay, let's see. Here are more recommendations for middle grades. I see.
Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly.
Yeah.
You wouldn't write it down though, would you, and publish it? That's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
No. We made it to the first prints.
Yeah.
Good. I'm desperate for the bathroom here, so yeah.
Oh,
Go.
Sharon needs to go wee, and
I need to go in, yes, and relieve myself. I need what do they call it, a comfort break.
Comfort break. Yeah.
I'm gonna start my book. I'm gonna go with William as everybody's voted for this one.
Yeah,
So I'll see you
interested to
all back
see.
here in 40. And
Sounds
sorry
good.
if anybody gets scared with the cat. See you soon.
See you in a bit.
Ah.
Hello.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hi, hi, hi.
Hello.
Welcome back. Oh, cat.
Yeah, he wants feeding, but I'm not going downstairs just yet.
Oh no, torture.
Yeah, I
They're
had to
always
feed
hungry.
one of mine. Started.
So let me know, how did you do? How did it go?
Well, I've managed to make more of a mess, but it's a process. And I listened to about 24 pages of God's Layers.
Hmm. Yeah, moving is like that. You move things around and you're like, pile there, pile there, pile over there.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, exactly.
How did you do,
Sorry,
Sharon?
I'm just letting my
Oh.
neighbour know which bins are going out tonight. This is the reduction of my
Fantastic.
life, by the way. What bins are out tonight, Shaz? Oh,
Fantastic.
anyway. Yes, I read about 100 pages.
Yeah, you're a very fast reader.
Yeah. But I did have to pop out. I had to pop upstairs to the bathroom, which takes me a while because my legs don't work. And then the cat got frantic because he was hungry. I started getting a bit ridiculous. You know what they're like when they get all temperamental.
Hmm. They have their moments here as well. They have their times where everybody's crazy and we don't know what's going on
Well, my
because we have
oldest
four
one,
cats.
Gally, if I don't feed him, he'll go like this, bleh, like he's gonna be sick. Bleh.
Really?
And there's nothing that gets a cat owner up quicker than a cat throwing up.
That's fair.
So I have to go and feed him.
Even though I have to say, when I first had my cats and I heard puking in the middle of the night, I would immediately wake up and check and clean. Now I'm like, tomorrow's problem.
Yeah.
Like, now I'm like, tomorrow I'll check where he puked and I'll clean it. Not now.
Yeah,
That's how I do
yeah.
it.
I bought myself a carpet cleaner, so it's less of a stress now. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The problem is that my legs don't work very well. So in the middle of the night, there's a good chance I could step in it.
Mm,
So that's the issue, isn't it? And Gally's like 15, so
mm.
he's like, I'm not waiting for food. I'm elderly. Give me food now.
No time to waste.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I made it. 48 pages into the book.
What do you
It's
think?
it's interesting. It's jumping into action fairly quickly, but I guess it's because the book is short. So something has to happen for the reader not to get bored. So we follow Henry. He is a guy that is really good at robotics, but not very good at socializing. So he has agoraphobia. He stays home most of the time, and his relationship with his wife has deteriorated a lot through the years. And even though she's pregnant, they barely have a relationship at all. And so he spends most of his time with his creations. And one of his new creations is William, who is an AI that can think for himself. And it doesn't look very like high tech or anything. Like he's tried his best to make him look good, but he's supposed to look kind of horrifying. And a couple of friends from his wife come over for dinner, and he doesn't like them, so he decides to introduce them to William and see what happens. And yeah, there we are. So
Interesting.
Oh, he's made an assassin, basically. By the
I
sound
don't
of it.
know, but the thing is, I don't think he can control William per se. And they also live in a house that, if you want to open a window or things like that, you have to do it with motion, like with voice control. Like you have to say open window, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like it's kind of like a high tech house kind of thing as well. But I don't know if he has any sort of power or command over William. I don't think it's been explained because he makes his own mind. Like he says whatever. It's not programmed to say certain things. He has his own consciousness. So I don't know if he knows how to control it either, if he gets completely out of control. So
Have you read Beta or Beta by Sammy Scott?
no.
That's a brilliant, really creepy horror about this writer who gets sent to this state of the art, completely AI controlled house,
Mm,
to test it out, to beta
no, thank
test it.
you.
And the question is, what is the point of something like that if they've got
Mm,
nobody to look after? So when it comes time for him to leave, it all goes very dark. It's absolutely brilliant book. It's like a book within a book.
mm.
Yeah, 'cause you're not sure if he's what he's writing is a story or real. It's really very good and very very creepy.
Oh, interesting. Like
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get more books about, high technology stuff like that, or more books about even like influencers and things like that, like modern kind of horror stuff. So I'll be
The
intrigued
book
to read
I'm
that.
reading is the reason that they've been pulled into it is that she does close protection. It's all about close protection of celebrities because
Mm,
3 influencers have been murdered.
interesting. There was a movie, I don't know if it was on Netflix. I think it was called Tattoo or something like that. That was also like a house that was super high tech, and then she loses control of the house, basically, of the controls, and then it turns into a horror movie. So I think it's an interesting concept, but there's even older books like Demon Seed by Dean Koontz, I think it
Yeah,
was,
yeah,
which is an older book but still has the same kind of concept.
idea.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so it was more futuristic at the time. Now it feels more realistic, like it
I
could happen.
I watched a new horror on Netflix last night. Time Cut, I think it was called,
Oh
about
yeah,
this girl who travels back in time accidentally to when her older sister who she never met was killed by a slasher. But it's really good fun. It was
yeah,
really good
but
fun.
you know what happened with that movie? It's a copy. It's the same movie that they released last year on Prime. It was called, let me tell you, because I started watching that movie, Time Cut, and I was like, I've seen this movie before. It
Ah,
just,
it was good
oh,
fun. Yeah, it wasn't particularly scary, but
it's
it was
called
good fun.
Totally Killer. It's the exact same thing, but I like this one better. So if you enjoy that one,
Totally Killer was the one when the
this
daughter
one,
goes back, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, I watched that one as well. I enjoyed
yeah,
that one
it's
as
the
well.
same thing. They say
It's the
that they
same
both,
story.
yeah, they say they both kind of filmed it at the same time, both studios, and then Prime just was quicker to release the movie, but
So
it's the
she goes
same
back to
thing.
save her mother, or goes back to save her mother's friends.
Yeah,
And
but
in this
even the
one, she goes
mask
back.
and everything from the killer is
It's the
almost the
same.
same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's really crazy. Like the concept is the same. There's this time machine. There is a serial killer. Like it's the same thing. They just changed the mother for the sister. That's it.
Synchronicity. It's what they say
Yeah.
happen, isn't it?
Or
Somebody
somebody
thinks of
leaked a
something.
script. That's what
It's
that's
like
what I'm
somebody
thinking.
comes up with a cure for something, and then other labs around the world start getting the cure at the same time. It's a weird synchronicity that goes on in the universe.
No, I think remember when Bugs Life came out? There was it
Yeah.
ants.
Ants. Yeah.
Somebody leaked the script
Oh,
of that movie. So I think something similar happened where there was some kind of script being leaked or idea or
they were
something.
both fun. So I
Yeah,
watched both of them.
that's what people have been doing. Oh yeah, we're talking about the sexy scenes. Thank you. You knitted and listened to my audiobook for 40 minutes.
I wish I could get on with
Fantastic.
audiobooks. I just can't. They send me to sleep.
I
It's
think
such a
so.
shame because I'd read so much. Well, not that I don't read a lot anyway, but it
Yeah,
would be quite nice, really. But I fall asleep. I can't. It lulls. It makes me so relaxed. I fall asleep.
that's fair. For me, it depends. Mostly I listen to it when I'm walking outside or stuff like that so that I have something to do while I'm out.
I
So,
think if I was commuting still, if I was still, I work at home now and I don't go
yeah.
out much. I think if I was commuting, I'd probably really enjoy it. But because
Yeah.
it's just me sitting, I just
Mhm.
nod off. You literally gagged at one point.
Yes.
Well, that sounds
That's
like a
always good.
fantastic book.
I always take it as a good sign, no matter what. If a
Yeah,
book can surprise you, look the books up that you all talked about, got a cup of tea, and a bowl of applesauce, and you wrote 48 words. Productivity.
that is
Carly.
productive.
So, Sharon was reading Richard Osman, I think it
I've got
was.
the. I can't read a hardback with a. I hate hardbacks,
Me
by the
neither.
way. I hate them completely. But anyway, it's what I'm reading. I prefer
Yes.
my Kindle if I have to have a choice.
I'm reading William but Mason Coyle. But at the beginning of the book, it says other books by the author, but they are all written under another name. Andrew
Oh,
Piper. So there's like a whole list of books that he wrote under another name. So I wonder why. Because I know that Riley Sager did that as well. He had a couple of thrillers under Todd Ritter, I think it was the name. And then he changed publishers or changed deals or whatever, and then he decided to change his name and use the pen name of Riley Sager. So I wonder if it's kind of similar to
I know
this.
quite a lot of indie horror authors who started under another name and then went to their own name. So
Yeah.
I don't really know why. Perhaps it's a kind of I can't use
Yeah.
the word
I'm gonna have to check if maybe
because
it
I'm
was a
tired.
different or it's a different like genre and the author wants to make a
Don't know.
difference. Like I don't know. I'll have
There
to
was a
check it out.
really well-known indie book called Incel by Mark Dacosi,
Hmm.
and that man is actually now is Matthew Clark, and he's changed back to his original name.
Name. Yeah.
So I don't know why. Perhaps they don't want to be associated with certain books they write. I don't know.
I don't know. I hate high
Yeah,
tech.
I'm going to need to feed my cat before he tears each of my
Yeah,
books
yeah,
up.
yeah. It's fine.
And then in a little bit, I have to go pick up my boyfriend from work. So I think
Yeah.
I'm going to have to dip early. Is that all right?
Yeah,
Did
it's
you
Um,
get
fine.
some packing done, darling?
I
Yeah.
have, and I will get some more done when I get back. I just need to feed the cat, fetch the
Fantastic.
I can
fetch the
hear
bag.
Cats are
them.
more
They're
important.
not happy, are they?
He doesn't know. He's such a little brat because if shouting at me and being all affectionate doesn't work, he goes straight to the bookshelves and starts scratching them. He is
Yeah, he
currently
knows where to get
attacking.
you.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
he
He's
is
like, I know
currently.
to upset mommy. I'll
Oi!
just
Yeah.
scratch your books.
Yeah, he's currently attacking Laura Olympus Volume 4.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah, that must stop.
we're gonna go. So it's been really, really fun and lovely
Yeah,
to meet you,
thanks for
Sharron.
joining.
Yeah, lovely
I'll
to
see you in
meet
the
you
next
too,
one.
Have a
darling.
good one.
Take care.
Bye.
Good luck with the moving.
Yeah, would you stay at a high-tech house? I don't think I would
No,
like it. I don't think.
no.
No, no, no.
It took
Like
me
I don't like
ages to
things
get.
outside of my control.
It took me ages to get an Alexa.
Oh.
And actually, it's really useful now when I'm on my own.
Mm,
Um, because if I'm a fall or anything upstairs, I can just say, Alexa,
mhm,
can you call?
mhm.
But it took me ages 'cause I thought they're listening to me.
They're listening anyway.
But then my phone is, the
Mhm.
phone monitors us constantly, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But I wouldn't like to live in a house that could control whether doors and windows are opened, or
Exactly.
that freaks me out a little bit. Yeah,
Mm.
I
I would
agree
be
with
like, no,
you.
no, no, no. Oh, page 286 of
That's
Silence
good
Loves.
going. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah, we're gonna do two more sprints, so you got this. I'm close to finishing the book for the virus or contagious disease prompt, and the chapter I'm in describes the birth in all its gory detail. Oops.
Oh,
Well,
all right.
because
Did you
this
get
book is
sent?
about
Did you get sent an
yeah,
arc of that, darling?
yeah,
Well
I get it.
done.
I get sent it by the publisher. I know someone that works for the publisher, and she emailed me and was like, "I know you like Grady Hendrix, you like horror. Do you want me to send you a PR package?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." So they sent me a
I've got
PR
it on my
package.
list to buy when it comes out, but
Yeah,
good
I
to know
have it
it's a goodie.
pre-ordered. Yeah, but it's about, girls in the 70s that when they are underage, like 14, 15, 16, and they get pregnant, their family send them there so that they can, you know, give birth to the child. The child is given to someone else and then they return home, like, what they used to do back in the day.
Yeah,
They would
yeah,
send
yeah,
them somewhere to get rid of the problem. So
yeah.
it's about that, one of those homes for girls. And so there's stuff
Lots
about
of birth.
pregnancy and because it's basically what it's about. So but it's really really good. It's my favorite so far by Grady Hendrix now.
Oh
I gave it
wow,
5 stars, which is
because
really weird.
my best friend's exorcism is still my favourite by him.
Oh, this stopped it for me, but it's kind of chunky, but you read very fast. So
Yeah,
but it's really good. But just so you know, Andreas, if you were trying to pick it up, it's about pregnant girls. So there's going to be some, you know, but it's live. Yeah, Tower. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the one
yeah.
that I watched on Netflix. like I can listen to audiobooks when I'm doing something.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. If I was walking, or I can't walk very well, sadly. If I was walking or traveling or commuting, I probably really would love it. But if I
Mm,
just sit down and put some on, I just fall asleep.
mm.
So
I
it
do
doesn't
it.
work for me at the moment.
Yeah, but maybe, well, I don't know. Maybe when you sit outside, or do you also fall asleep when you're outside? Because maybe you're more awake when you're in your garden, like,
I just
you
don't
know.
think. I think that I just don't think it's for me, and that's
Yeah,
fine. Do you know?
yeah,
However you access reading, it doesn't really matter as long as as long as you're reading, doesn't it? It doesn't matter.
yeah. It
I
does
get
make my
very
life
annoyed.
easier sometimes,
I get
but
very
yeah,
annoyed when people say that audio is not reading.
yeah. Of
The
course it
first,
is.
it's ridiculous. The first stories we ever heard, were read to us
Yeah,
when we were
yeah,
children. It's a silliness, but however you access it is fantastic.
yeah. If you have like a job on the side, maybe it's not practical to use your real name. Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe that's true.
That's
Yeah, that's true.
depending on what you write as
Yeah.
well. Because Chuck Tingle. That's what I'm saying. The type of books he used to write before he transitioned into horror. I would understand why he didn't want to write his real name or show his face for those.
All right. I suppose the same for a lot of indie horror. Do you know, a lot of it
Yeah,
is very extreme and quite,
yeah,
specific. And so, if you've got a job that's more sensitive, you don't want people to know. I get that.
yeah,
That
that's
makes
fair.
sense, doesn't it,
Yeah.
really?
Also because people maybe at work, or if you work for different people or whatever, they might not know you at a deeper level, so they might
Yeah.
not understand that it's fiction and you're not, like your characters. I
Yeah, exactly.
think people forget that. But have any of you read the Say You Book? Oh, yes, I have. You mean Middle of the Night?
I don't like his
Well,
books, so
yes, I liked it, but I know a lot of people hated it.
yeah.
I enjoy it, but I think it's because I just enjoy his books in general.
I find him very hit and miss. There's been a couple
Yeah.
I really enjoyed, and then a couple I really didn't like, and I DNF'd. So
Mm,
I think he's kind of a hit and miss for me, really.
mm. I mean, if you have read his books before and in general enjoyed it, I would say for £1, get it.
It's worth
If
it.
you've never read Riley Sager before, it's also not a bad deal because you get to try it just for £1. So I
Yeah.
mean, you know,
I
it's
love
not
the
a bad
Kindle
deal.
deals.
Yeah. It sometimes you get to try things that maybe you wouldn't buy otherwise. So, you know,
It's nice
but
to
I
see you
enjoyed
too, Caroline, darling.
it.
Hope you're well.
I was at a place where the windows had buttons to open, and one was slow, and two, what if something happens and you have to wait for it to go up?
Exactly.
You're
Or
like,
he
go
decides
on.
not to let you out. What if he
Yeah.
decides, actually, I'm not going to let you out,
Mm,
and you're trapped in a house that's burning down? I mean,
mm.
it is quite worrying, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, like, or even the door, like if you have to put a code or something is
Yeah.
broken and it doesn't work, and you cannot even get out of your house or get in.
Oh no,
No, thank you.
that's awful.
Mark Twain at some point traveled into the future and decided Mark Twain sounds good.
That's quite
Sounds
well. Let's go with this one. Yeah,
fair.
yeah, me
Yeah,
too. He's just so quirky. He's just so different.
but
That's what.
just
Every single book is different.
this book is so serious. You would not believe this was written by Grady Hendrix.
Exactly. Every single one is different. Every
It's
single
so
one.
different. This is so different. I was reading it. I'm like, it doesn't read like a Grady Hendrix book. If you've never read Grady Hendrix before and you read this, it's like nothing like the other ones. Like there is not like all of that humor in this one. I think this is more serious. Maybe that's why it's a 5 star for me.
It's like a pure horror
It's just like
without
I would
the
say it's
without the
like
comedy
a
element.
historical horror bit of drama. Like it's not funny in the sense that it doesn't get ridiculous like puppets and possessed besties, and like it's not like quirky in that regard. It's just like a lot more serious topic, which I think it's because the topic is quite serious.
Yeah.
I think he understood that there were certain things he couldn't do with the topic because it would have been a little bit tasteless. Because you need to think it's underage pregnant girls, like it's not, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe that's why the tone is a bit more mature and serious in this one.
I think
But
historical horror is a very popular thing now. Started
yeah,
with like the Reformatory, by
yeah,
Tanner Eva Dew. Do you know that kind of
yeah,
historical horror where a lot of the horror is other people
yeah,
and what they do and how they you know strip the humanity of people. Fantastic book, by the way, isn't it? But so I think that's quite that's getting a bit of a kind of comeback, that historical horror.
yeah. I think
I
you might
enjoy
will
it.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oops, he's probably a great guy. His books just make me mad.
Southern Book
Oh
Club I
no.
didn't like. I didn't like That's one of the only ones of his I didn't
Yeah.
like. The other ones I quite liked them because they were quirky. Best
Mm.
Friend's Exorcism because of the nostalgia. A Horror Store just because the physical book is
Yeah,
just
it's very
so
funny. Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun
Um
to read.
yeah, Haunted the House Cellar Haunted
Final
House.
Final Girl support group.
I didn't like that one either. I thought that was I could see the ending coming about
Hmm.
halfway through. Um and my Haunted House Cellar Haunted House I thought was interesting in its conversation around grief.
Yeah.
And so I found that interesting. But I thought it was very slow. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's fair.
he is again hit and miss.
Yeah.
Um
But you know what? It's like I want to keep reading his books, even if they are not all 5 stars for me, because this is the
yeah.
first time that I have given one of his books 5 stars.
Yeah, me too.
And but I still enjoy his books, even if I didn't love some of them, but I enjoy reading them. I think also my least favorite might be Southern Book Club, but because it was kind of like a weird Desperate Housewives thing,
Yeah, it was.
and
It was
di-
just weird.
like and it didn't have much of horror in it. I did like the suitcase part, if you know,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
but like there was a lot of it that I was like, this is just like watching Desperate Housewives. This is not what I signed up for. But
It's just odd. It's just odd,
yeah,
and the dialogue is odd, and
yeah,
it's just weird. But I
yeah.
love My Best Friend's Exorcism is still my favorite book by him.
Hmm.
Just because of the pure nostalgia of that for me.
Mm,
I was a teenager in the 80s.
yeah.
So that was just the main reason I loved that.
I'm so curious now to hear your thoughts on the new one. So when you read it, we need to talk. Oh, you have loved all the Riley Sager books. Ooh, then do
Yeah,
it with
you'll
one
love it
pound.
then.
I
Yeah,
mean, even if you don't like it, it's not a huge investment. Like I wouldn't say get the hardcover, but like 1 pound, do it.
I love a Kindle deal.
Yeah. I'd rather have it a bit easier for bad people to get into my house than it'd be very hard
I
to get out of my
agree.
house. Yeah.
Completely agree.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very
Yeah,
good.
I hate the idea of being trapped in somewhere and not being able to get out.
No, no, thank you. His books do seem like they try something new each time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
like
think he does.
yeah.
I think he's not scared to try new things, and
Hmm.
yeah, and I applaud him for that. He's not, even though sometimes it doesn't work. He just gives it a go.
Hmm.
He's
Yeah, I
also
think
very funny. He's a lovely man.
yeah.
He's very funny.
I think he just takes, uh tropes, not tropes, but maybe subgenres of horror and gives them a spin,
Yeah,
like the haunted house, but then he did something different, or like a vampires, but I'm gonna make it different, stuff like
different.
that, or
Yeah,
possession story, but let me do it a little bit different. So he's taking all of these kind of subgenres, let's say, of horror, and he's just doing them a little bit differently. Like this one is about witches, like the title implies, but there is a lot more. It's not just about that, it's like a very different take on witchcraft and what it means and all of that. So that's why I like it, because even if his books are not all 5 stars, but I appreciate to read something different and weird, and I don't know.
yeah,
I
yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little bit quirky. It's just It's nice sometimes.
I'll just try to imagine Horror Store when it's published in an Oxford Penguin Classics edition. No wonder they
Ah.
hate us. Good luck with that.
I
Oh, well, let's go to the next sprinteroo.
think I might need a cup of tea.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, let's bring up the kitty. There it is. And I'll see you back here in 40. Good luck, everybody.
Bye, loves.
Hello.
Hello.
You're still not asleep?
I'm not asleep now. I had a phone call, so I had to go and take a phone call.
Oh, I see. So did you get any reading done at all?
Only about 40 pages or so.
You're so fast.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It is a really easy, it's a really fast read though,
Mm,
because it's kind of very kind of, it's non-stop kind of action, so it's really fast paced. So it's kind of, you feel like you're speeding through it.
yeah,
So it
but
depends, doesn't it?
still.
Sometimes if it's not like that, then it can be feel a bit of a drudge. But and he's such the dialogue is so good. It's just so funny and ridiculous. It's just wonderful. It's very, very British.
Guess I
I'm
should
not
try it at some point.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it would translate outside of
Mm,
Britain. Do you know what I
mm,
mean? Because it's very
yeah,
kind of, it has that kind of British eccentricity and kind of, that kind of British kind of idea of, in the midst of chaos and disaster, let's have a cup of tea, that kind of thing. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And they're making a film of the Thursday Night Murder Club.
Mm.
Um, so it's that's going to be on Netflix next year.
Oh, maybe I should read
So
it then before.
yeah, so it's really good. It's got like, I think there's some quite famous people. I think Ben Kingsley's in it, and
Oh, I like him.
Celia Imrie's in it, and the bloke who was Remington Steele, Pierce Brosnan.
Mm.
So it looks quite good, yeah. So I love it. It's just a really fun. It's horror. I mean, it's a horror really, because the murders are really vicious and brutal, but there's this wonderful kind of silliness to it. It's just
I might
it's
have to
really,
try it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really fun. It's really fun.
Okay. I think I'll have to try the first book then. I don't think I've read anything by the author, but sometimes it's nice to have that kind of like light reading almost, like it's
Yeah,
not, it doesn't require maybe as much energy from you as other books. It's just fun and quick, and your brain doesn't have to work that hard, if that makes sense, which it doesn't mean that it's not a good book or you're not enjoying it, but sometimes your
yeah.
brain has to work harder.
And it's like the four old. What's lovely is the Thursday Night Murder Club is all about older people, which is kind of nice to see in a book.
Mm,
And so one of them, Elizabeth, is an ex-spy. Do you know? So she's and her husband's got Alzheimer's, and then there's Joyce, who was like, she was a housewife, but she's actually the psychopath in all of them. She gets the funniest bits. And then there's, Abraham is kind of an academic, and then what's the other guy called? Anyway, he's kind of an ex-boxer, and they just kind of, it's just brilliant. It's just the characterization he does is so, you can even see them. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
wonderful.
um
Yeah.
so Nina was asking, she's reading Richard Osman. I don't know which one in the series
This
there.
is a new series called
Oh,
We
it's a new
Solve
series.
Murders. The Thursday Murder Club. He's written four of those, and he's given them a break. Fair enough, because they've been, you
Yeah,
know, in a problem and they're getting on. This is a different one. It's about
I
a
don't think
protection officer and a father-in-law who's an ex-cop. It's brilliant, and
I
they're all over
got
the world. It's like James Bond. James Bond. If James Bond and Midsummer Murders had a baby,
it. Sounds like fun though.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not a huge James Bond fan, but if there's murders involved, then I'm in.
But that kind of like the James Bond part where there's nefarious goings on, business
Mm,
dealings and drug
yeah,
dealers and
like the villain
espionage and
side.
and like flying across different parts of the world. And she's been pulled into it while she's protecting this very famous novelist who's very eccentric, and she's been threatened to be killed by this Russian oligarch because she's offended him in a Twitter in a tweet. It's just brilliant. It's just really, it's really fun. It's really fun.
I got a book that I thought was gonna be kind of cozy like that. It's called The Cat Who Caught a Killer.
Mm.
And there's a second book to that, but I got the first one only. But it looks like it has a cat and it's about a murder. And apparently, this woman is able to solve a murder or something because of a cat. And I'm guessing the second book is kind of the same thing. Like she solves a murder because of the cat or something. I
Oh,
don't know. I
cats are
just grabbed
clever.
it. Yeah. I grabbed it from the store. I was like, murder cats. I'll try it.
Why not? Why not? It's worth the punt,
I'll
isn't it?
try it.
I've actually, with the Evilathon, I've actually gone. I went through my Kindle because I decided I want to read most of my books on my Kindle, and I've gone through the depths of my Kindle for stuff I've had ages that I haven't read. So it's going to be. It's an interesting mix this time. It's a bit.
Hmm.
Do you know? It's not just all horror, which is. There's a bit of sci-fi. There's a bit of mystery, and as some really unusual ones that have been just sat there. And I thought, oh, I'll give them a go and mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think
So
we
we'll see how we
forgot
get
so
on.
much of what we have in our Kindle. Sometimes I also try to be like, okay, let me see what I have on my Kindle. And then I'm like, oh. And I realize sometimes I have things on my Kindle that I bought physically without knowing I had
Yeah,
them
me
already
too.
on
I've
my
done that.
Kindle.
I've
And I'm
done that
like,
too.
oops.
And
Like,
actually, a lot of the time, because I don't really like hardbacks, I find them really hard to hold.
mm,
Um, there's quite a lot of the special edition ones, like the Lumacrate and the Evernight ones I've got, that I haven't read until I've got them on a special deal on Kindle.
hmm,
So I've never read the actual physical book.
yeah.
I bought them on Kindle when they were 99p. I've got
I think,
thousands. I've got about 2,500 books on my Kindle.
yeah. There was a book that I bought physically and I was excited and I'm like, oh, I think it's the last Silvia Moreno Garcia book, the Silver Nitrate. I got it in
Yes,
physical and I was like, oh, now I can read the book. And then I realized I have it already on my Kindle and I have it also available on audiobook. And I'm like, perfect.
perfection. I just bought myself a new Kindle. Actually,
Oh,
I've
nice.
got I've got ridiculous amount of Kindles in my house. There's Kindles in every house, in every room. But I bought one, a paperwhite, last year, and it's got a line across it.
Oh,
And I rang up. There's like and it's annoying me, just like a break in the
oh, I
in the
see.
text, and it doesn't affect the text, but it affects the cover. And I rang Kindle to see if I could get it fixed, and they said it was because I was using I hadn't got a proper cover on it. I was using like a plastic cover,
Ah,
and and he says that it weakens it. You need to have a cover that shuts.
I see.
So I've bought the new Kindle Paperwhite, which is very very nice and bigger, and I've got a little cover for it.
Oh.
But it's bigger than the other one. Um, it's brilliant. Oh God, I didn't realize I got that one on there either. Um, ooh,
Oops.
ooh, I've got a couple of arcs I need to get done.
I see. So I made it 108 pages on my book. So I'm kind of like halfway through now. And
Yeah.
it's also kind of quite action-packed book. And I think it's just like the conversation um about AI and the tests that have been done. I don't know if you've seen some research
Mm,
that a lot of AIs that they have created, when they wanted to shut them down, the AI would say why, don't shut me
yeah.
down, stuff like that. Like I've seen a lot of like scientific papers on that and stuff like that. So it's kind of like that conversation of if you create something that can think for itself, like how dangerous that can potentially be. And yeah, it's an interesting conversation, because there's a lot of things that what happens when we cannot control something, because they are in the house and this AI is kind of out of control, and everything in the house is also operated by this high tech thing. So obviously, the AI can have access to everything in the house. So it's kind of like
Easier.
that
Yeah.
idea of, technology is supposed to be something to help us, but, where are the limits of how far should we push it, or how far is it ethically maybe correct? Like, I don't know, it's like all that conversation a little bit. But it's interesting also the creator, and what you create, and the relationship you have with your creation in a way, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. So
It's a
I like it.
terrifying idea because if humans create something as to aid humanity,
Hmm.
and they start thinking for themselves, but their base programming is humanity.
Hmm.
Imagine how bad it could go. Because
Yeah, I watched. Have you
we're
watched the
mental, aren't
Orville?
we?
Have you watched the Orville?
I love that series. I'm so
Yeah,
hoping it'll come back.
I really like Isaac as a
So
character,
do
and
I.
I really love the episodes where they go back to his homeland, and you realize that after humans created the robots, then the robots started to have their own, you know, mentality, and they didn't agree with the way that the humans were treating them, so they kind of rebelled against them. So it's kind of like,
I was on the side of the robots. They were so
yeah,
cruel to them. I was on
I
the side of
know.
them. I was like, yeah, shoot them. Absolutely. They just kept knocking them down, and oh my, it was awful.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that thing, you know, like maybe you create something, but then it backfires,
Exactly.
like in the TV show. So
And he's
yeah,
far more advanced than you and can
yeah.
think of more things quicker than you. So you've actually what you've done is you've deleted humanity. Do you know
Hmm.
you've made us obsolete? You've made us old fashioned. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but like also you're creating something that if it can think for itself, I don't know, it gets a little bit scary because then it's out of your control, you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Let me see what people have been up to. I'm still live
Uh,
at home. My room got isolation this spring. Ooh, so it gets warm pretty easy. My mom forgot that I put my heating on full blast. My focus has been pretty bad. Oh
have you
no.
been napping? Have you been nodding off?
Yeah.
Because that's what
When
happens when
it's
I
really
get
hot.
too warm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me
Have a little
too.
nap.
Yeah, when it's warm, I'm like, bye. Oh, 163 words. Nice. It's
That's
something
brilliant.
better than nothing. Better than nothing.
More than you had to begin with.
Exactly. It's always better than nothing. Got my audiobook done. Not sure I'm liking it, but it's so hyped that I think I'll give it a bit more chance. Even if it's a hyped book, if you're not enjoying it, you know. I mean, an
Yeah.
audiobook is not as bad as physical, I think, because you can just listen to it and it's not, I feel like it's less of a
Do you
burden.
listen to it?
But
Do you listen to it at double the speed?
it depends. Mostly, yeah. I mean, at least 1.5, sometimes 2, it depends. Because if I do it too fast, I think that I might miss stuff because I get then maybe distracted and then I missed a huge portion. So it depends. If it's a memoir, a little bit slower, especially if the person itself is narrating it, because I like to listen to the voice, because then I feel otherwise it sounds weird. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? If I listen to someone's biography and they are their own narrator, it might be weird to speed it up.
The only one I
But
ever really enjoyed is I was reading Babel, however you
yeah,
want to say it, by R.F. Kuang, and I got a free Audible credit. So I thought
I'll give it
I
a
was
chance.
loving the book, and I thought I'll listen to it while I'm working. But I had to have it on like 3 times the speed because it was too slow for how I read.
Mm,
And so what I thought was actually the best thing for me to do is to listen to the Audible while I'm reading the book. And that was actually really fantastic. That kind of dual thing. I really enjoyed
hmm.
that. But I did have to have it at 3 times the speed. And it was quite funny.
Yeah, that's the thing that it starts to
Yeah.
sound a little bit, more high
Because I
pitched.
read fast. But yeah, I did enjoy that kind of combination of reading and listening.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
quite fun.
yeah.
I've never thought of trying a memoir. That might be something that would be like a way in for me to make it
Mm,
accessible. 'Cause I love a memoir, and if it's read by the person who's written
yeah.
it, I think that might be a really good idea. Thanks for that, love. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I've read a couple like that because I feel like those work really well in audiobook for me because I know I don't want the physical copies because I'm probably not gonna reread them. I don't want them for the collection or anything, so I
Yeah,
don't want them in physical anyway. So I think audiobooks work really well for biographies for me because then mostly the writer is the narrator, so
yeah, I
makes
think
it
that
more
might be good. 'Cause
personal.
it'd be nice to hear their story in their own words.
Yeah.
I love a biography. I often have a biography on my Kindle, that I'm reading. I usually read a couple of fiction and at least a couple of non-fiction. I have them going at the same time because I've
Mm.
just got such a scatty brain. I flit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happens to me too. I like to have a couple of things going at the same time.
And sometimes if you're reading a really gory, awful horror, you want something lighter as well to kind of dip into.
Yes.
So you don't just go, "Oh, okay."
So it's not all gore.
No, exactly.
Okay, she just read, I think, Richard Osman, the first one a couple months ago. I guess from the other series that the.
Yeah, it's easy reading. I don't know
Mm.
where you're based, Nina. Um,
Oh, on the inside.
yeah, because it is very very British. So it'd be interesting to me whether
Mm.
the humor's kind
Other
of humor
people.
character
Yeah.
the humor's picked up by somebody who isn't
Yeah.
from Britain. You know.
I mean, I guess it depends. There's some like Shaun of the Dead is a very popular movie, even though it's a British movie. But
I think it's the accent. It's more the
yeah,
eccentricities in this that may. I'm not sure how that translates into
I'll let you know.
another culture. Yeah,
I'll try it and see if it works for
yeah.
me because I don't know. Humor is something sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. When I translated the original James Bond novels into German, they edited out most of the nature descriptions because why would somebody? I
Do
mean,
you know I read all of Ian Fleming's book, all of the James Bond books at
uh,
one point because I really like a James Bond movie. Because it's all I love things that crashes and I love stuff like that. But
yeah,
I read all the books once, and the books are very different from the movies. Far
yeah.
more, actually, they're more misogynistic, if you can
Uh,
believe that.
they have been retranslated, I think. So I guess the new translation is maybe more faithful.
Yeah, maybe,
But
maybe
that is a fun fact. I love that.
it is a fun fact.
Mars Express. I haven't seen that one
I
yet.
don't think I've seen that
It's
one.
an animated movie. I haven't seen it. Mars Express. I have
I
to
watched
watch it.
Hotel Transylvania last week. That's the first
Oh,
time
I
I'd
love
seen
it.
that.
Yeah, I've
I'm
seen
not.
one and two.
I don't watch a lot of. I don't watch a lot of television. As you know, I'm not a television person. I have fads on it. But yeah, I watched a good one the other day. That was a Swedish film about this town that basically collapses.
Hmm.
Can't remember what it's called. It was on Netflix. But anyway, what annoys me about it, like that Under Paris thing with the sharks,
Oh yeah.
is they've taken a film that's in an original language and overdubbed it in American.
Oh
So you've
really?
got all of these people who are Parisian
Yeah.
speaking in an American accent. And this one is in Swedish, again, overdubbed in American. I'm like, I'd really love to find the original movie and just watch it in subtitles.
Can't you
Do you
just
know?
change it? Because normally you can't.
I don't know. I haven't tried. I didn't know you could do that.
Maybe it's because you normally listen to everything in English and then your TV or whatever recognizes it and then it plays it in English for you?
Yeah,
And
and
then
I
if you
watch a
go to
lot of foreign
the
films in subtitles.
hmm,
Yeah, I love a foreign film. I'd rather hear it. I'd rather. It's just crazy. Always people in Paris speaking American. But why would it be American when I'm English? It's crackers to me.
because for
I thought
example, if
that's
I
weird.
watch something in Spanish because the TV show is in Spanish and I obviously
Mm.
want to watch it in Spanish, and then maybe I go to something else, sometimes it automatically might select Spanish for me because it remembers the last thing I watched was in Spanish. So I don't know, maybe it's a
I'll have a
glitch or
look.
something.
I'll have a play.
Yeah.
So I went through a phase about 20 years ago where I was obsessed with Spanish daytime dramas.
Mm-mm.
And I used to watch them in Spanish with
Nice.
the subtitles. I can understand more Spanish than I can speak, but I was absolutely obsessed with them, and they were so dramatic.
Yeah. A
But
lot
they
of
were
the
such
Latin American soap
yeah,
operas
they
are
were such
crazy.
fun. They were such fun.
Double speed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Never below
yeah,
155. Yeah. That's fair.
yeah. I think they record it slower, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it
Yeah,
depends.
that's fair
Yeah.
enough too.
That's also fair.
Absolutely, yeah.
In the warm weather, 100%. With the blanket in winter. I watch more YouTube videos on one point. Oh, interesting.
No, I don't do that
Interesting.
with YouTube. Isn't that
No, me
weird?
neither. No,
No,
I don't
I
do
never
it
do
either
that.
because it's different. Like I'm just chilling with my coffee, whatever, watching other booktubers or
Yeah, me
whatever.
too. Yeah,
Yeah, or sometimes I play them while I'm cooking or while I'm doing things because I follow so
I'll
many
do
people
that.
on BookTube that I don't have time sometimes just to sit down and just watch everything on my watch list. So I would just be like, okay, I'm gonna cook now for like an hour, so I'm just gonna play all the videos that I have saved here that I have to watch for the people I follow.
And I do
So
when I'm eating, when I get my dinner to eat,
yeah, true.
then I'll put YouTube on.
Oh, nice. Practically next door, yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, the rhyming stuff. Well, a lot of British people don't understand that either, love. So you're not alone. We sometimes have to look it up too. But I'm glad. I love Terry Pratchett. I mean, the man was he was just so clever with language.
Yeah. That show's only work for me if it's animated. Yeah, if it's like something um animated, I might be able to watch it. Otherwise, I have trouble.
Yeah.
And it's funny because where I grew up in Spain, everything is dubbed in television. Absolutely everything, 100%. You cannot
Oh
watch
wow.
anything original in regular television, only if you go now, thanks to Netflix and Prime and stuff. But when I was growing up, all TV shows or cartoons, all movies, everything is dubbed. So there is nothing you can watch in original.
Wow.
Um, and I got used to it, but then when I started learning English and all of that, and I watched uh, movies with my parents in Spanish because obviously they don't speak English, then of course you get bothered because you can read the lips and
Yeah.
and then it starts to bother you. But growing up, I had nothing else available. Also, all the movies in the cinema in Spain are in Spanish. They're all dubbed. So when I was growing up,
Yeah.
all the movies that I watched, everything that I consumed, was in Spanish. Now you might be able to get maybe an original version in the cinema, but it's rare and only in the big cities. So it's not that easy. Like people are just used to the dubbing. So yeah,
Yeah, I found it really weird, and but I will check my settings to see if it's done that because
yeah,
it knows I'm in England,
yeah.
and so
It's
it's
possible.
automatically setting it as an English language because I don't like it either at all. I don't.
No,
I'd
I
much
I
rather hear the
rather,
original
yeah.
language and read the subtitles.
I mean, when
Do
I'm
you
with my
know?
parents, I have to because, otherwise they don't understand. Then I sacrifice and we just watch it in Spanish. It's fine. It's not like I don't understand. But it's not my preferred method. Oh, you put for Heartstopper in Dutch? Oh, I had to watch a couple of bits in Spanish because one of my friends works for Netflix and she translates as well. And she needed to know certain words from Heartstopper in Spanish. And I had to go through the show because she asked me because I know that show by heart. Like I've watched the episodes so many times. And I was like, episode, like season 2, episode 6, whatever. Like I know what it is. And I looked it up and I was watching little bits in Spanish and I'm like, this is horrible. I was doing it to help her, but when you listen to the voices and things that you're used to them in that like original, it's like it's so weird.
I love the Dutch language. One of the first places I worked in Europe was for a missionary agent. It's a Christian mission, which was based in Brussels called Mission Oost, and
Mm.
the main CEO of that was Dutch. And I didn't know for 2 weeks he was Dutch because his English was better than mine. It was perfect Oxford
Mm.
English. So he'd gone to Oxford University, and but I used to love listening to him when he was talking to his mum and dad. I
I
love
went
I
to
love that kind
Harrow.
of that old kind of the Scandinavian languages. I love them.
I
Absolutely
don't
love
know if
them.
you know it. Do you know Harrow in
Harrow.
England? Yeah.
Oh, the school.
Yeah, like well isn't it a city? I think
It's
so.
a city and a school. Yeah.
Yeah, I went there when I was, let me think. I think maybe 18 because I like applied for a grant because I had really good grades in English and I studied there for a summer. Yeah. And that was kind of my first time that I ever went to England and it was very interesting for me, very interesting experience because I was living with a family with 2 kids and a dog and the grandma like everybody.
And
Like it
it's
was
a
like
public school, so it's very different. I mean, I went to
yeah.
Cambridge, but and it was very, very weird for me. And arm English. Do you know? Just a different. Everybody speaks with like plums in their mouths. It's all very
Mm,
proper English, and I don't speak like that. So yeah, but yeah, I love to hear different languages. It just broke my heart a bit that they'd overdubbed it in these
yeah,
annoying American whines. And you know what I mean? I said I want to hear the Swedish, I want to hear the French,
yeah. Makes a
you know.
difference as well. Oh, Secret Magic Control Agency, which was made in Russia.
That sounds like a fun film, doesn't it?
An animated movie. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cinematic YouTube videos and multiple. Okay, 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 okay. Understand. I guess
Yeah.
it
Like a
depends what kind
podcast
of
sometimes.
content as well.
Yeah, if I'm listening to a
Yeah, a
podcast,
podcast.
I
Yeah.
might speed that up. Just shake my hand.
Oh man. Okay, look at the time. It's crazy. We've been talking a lot today, but
It's
we
11.
had to
It's
catch up.
10 past 11 o'clock. 10 past
Yeah.
11 for you now.
Yes. But we're gonna do the last sprint as promised. I'm not gonna leave you hanging, guys. Reading vlogs are like podcasts to me. Fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Fair, fair.
Okay, I'm gonna mark that comment. Let me bring the kitty. So we're gonna do the last one so Sharon and I can go to bed.
Oh, I'm going to carry on reading, but yeah, you should go to bed. It'll be
Yeah,
nearly
I work
midnight.
tomorrow.
I'm not.
I'm
My
gonna
my step
try.
my stepson's coming tomorrow with his fiance
Oh,
for. I'm feeding him chicken curry and
that's fun.
cheesecake.
Nice. Can I go? I'll catch a plane.
Come over.
I think I'm just gonna try to read a little bit more of these because I think just for half an hour I'm not gonna start another book. So I'll
Yeah.
just and then I'll probably finish it tomorrow. So one book down. Okay, guys, I'll see you back here in 30 minutes.
See you soon.
Welcome back. Did anybody fall asleep? It's getting late.
I've only got about, I've only got about, I don't know, 100 pages left. So I think I'm probably going to read through.
Ooh. Yeah, I wish I could finish this one. I'm in page 154, so I have like this little bit
50
left.
left. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, more or
Yeah.
less, yeah. But I think it's too late for me because I have to wake up latest at 7 tomorrow, so I need to get ready for bed, get the cats to bed.
Yes, my
They
cats are
are
all
here
asleep.
sleeping because they refuse to leave me, so they're kind of on the floor here, everywhere.
Mine are on, I
They're
bought
like,
a new sofa bed last week,
ah,
which is like, we closes down into a double bed and it's got storage underneath. And the cats love it.
nice.
They've stopped coming to bed with me now. They sleep on, it's more comfortable on the sofa,
Interesting. Now
which
this
means
one's
I
love
can
to come
sleep
to
there,
bed.
so that's good.
The little one, Drusilla, she always comes when she knows we're about to wake up. I know that it's her because you hear like a really loud purring coming. It's like, "Brr, brr, brr," and I'm like, oh, there she is. I call her Purrito because she's always purring. So it's
Oh,
like a purring burrito. So I call her Purrito. And she comes and she starts licking me. She pokes me with the hand and she sleeps on my pillow. Yeah, she's very
oh.
cute. And the rest mostly sleep like around our feet. Sometimes they come on top or but she always comes like, oh, they're like in an hour or so they're gonna wake up. So let me go and start bothering them.
The boys always sleep around. Merlin sleeps down the side of me. Gally sleeps near my feet. And Shira, she has to do her perimeter sweeps around the house.
Fair.
She's security. But she comes in every hour and she'll just come up and just tap my nose and then go off. All night.
Nice.
It's worse than having kids.
Yeah. They don't have their own room, so they have to come.
Exactly.
I hope you had a
Yeah.
good one,
Thanks,
Nina.
Nina. Bye.
Hello.
Hello. Now we're finished now, darling. We've been here
Yes,
since
but
7.
like Andrea says, they're gonna take place next week is on a Monday because Wednesday I'm taking a train in the morning to London. So I have to move it to Monday. But Monday I will be joined by I think it's Amy and Shelly on Monday. Um and then it's gonna be a Wednesday and Wednesday. So yeah.
And I'm back on those two. Can't get rid
Yes.
of me.
No, we don't want to. But yeah, I was gonna do it every Wednesday, but next week my train is like at 8 something in the morning already here. So I'm gonna be early in London. St Pancras station is where it leaves me, and then from there I can access my hotel. So because of that, I have to change it to Monday.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to
Hope you
it.
enjoy.
Yes.
They can still be useful for you. Yeah, I'm
I'm
really
really,
excited. So
yeah. Well, we get, me and Amelia, she's coming from Yorkshire and I'm going from Devon, which is two ends of the country. I think we get to Paddington about 2 o'clock. So by the time we got a taxi over to the hotel, because it's only like 300 yards from Olympia,
yeah,
we get there about 3, check in. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm only doing the Saturday, Kasha. I'm only coming Saturday.
that's fine.
I can't manage the rest of it. I'm going home on Sunday,
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon. But yeah, so it's going to be fun.
Yes. A lot of people. If anybody's coming, say
Yes, the
hello to see
Shalk,
us.
Young Adult Literary Convention, or the MCM Comic Con, which I'm hoping
Yeah.
to pop down and have a look at some point.
Yeah, I always want to, but I barely have any time because I'm always chatting to people, checking things out. I try to go to panels, so it gets busy, but
I
yeah.
enjoy the panels and things like that. That's
Yeah.
part of the fun for me. I don't imagine I'll buy a lot of books because there's not that much horror, is there? So
Well, there's a lot of thrillers. There is some horror. Normally, I go to the publishers and I just ask them what they recommend. That it's more like horror thriller, and then they will tell me what they have. I've been trying to tell them, bring more horrors and thrillers our way, so you can talk to the publishers and be like,
It is getting more popular, I think. There's a lot
yeah,
more
I think
horror
so.
books being published, isn't there?
Yeah, so I think we're in a good on the good way, to bring more horror to YA readers. So yeah.
Yeah, and I can't wait to finally meet Amy.
Oh yeah, I've seen her already twice at Yalk before, so
Every
it's
time I
gonna be
mention it, it's just,
exciting.
have we not met? Because it feels like we've known each other
Yeah,
for years.
exactly. I would have assumed that you guys have met.
No, because she's in Yorkshire and we're opposite ends of the country. So it's like,
Crazy.
yeah. Yes, I'm really looking forward to it. Now
It's
I've
gonna
got
be a
my
busy
super duper
weekend.
scooter.
Oh, it's gonna be so much fun.
It
But
is.
let's say goodbye to the folks
You're
so
gonna
that
get some sleep.
I'm gonna get some sleep. Thanks everybody for coming, joining us, participating, reading, being productive, writing, even though it was too warm in the room.
Thank you for all your comments as well. It's lovely. It's been proper
Yeah.
chatting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been really chatty. Normally I'm only here until 11, but today it's been an hour extra because we talked a lot also when Hannah was here.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. We will do our best.
Thank you. We will. Thank you. It's my first time. I'm so excited.
I'll show you around.
Yay.
But yeah, the next sprint is going to be next Monday with Amy and Shelly. So at the same time, I'll be posting about
I'll
it.
be in the chat.
Fantastic. So thank you guys for coming. Good night, everybody. And I'll see you next time.
Happy reading all. Bye.